Professor Rajat Moona already joined online. He has been waiting. So this panel is going to talk about future technologies. Professor Rajat Moona is joining on video conferencing. In this panel, we have Mr. Amitabh Kumar from Z. Mr. D.P. Singh from Doordarshan. And Srividya Srinivasan from Amity. Firstly, I must update to Professor Moona. Professor Moona, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear absolutely clearly.
Yeah, I must say that in the last meeting also he joined on BC, but he had a complaint that he could not see the other participants and he had been looking at a blank wall or my face. So that is why there is a change of the laptop direction. Can you see some people at least?
Yeah, I can see almost everybody here very clearly.
Good. Now, without much ado, I must start this to keep you updated. We had the morning session, which was inaugurated by Mr. Rajiv Bansal, Joint Secretary, through video message. We had another video message from DVB Executive Director, Mr. Peter Siebert. Then we had the discussion on infrastructure, interoperability, and that was joined on BC by Mr. Sunil K. Gupta, Principal Advisor at TII. We have just before this, had a very excellent discussion on standardization. Now, there are a lot of things which has come. Key points on those is there are challenges in broadcasting because the new technologies, two-way technologies are prevalent, which is having an edge than broadcasting. Broadcasting is giving one message to everybody. So when you can get the same content at same time, it may not be suitable to everybody. So OTT is coming where it is giving advantage on space and time. Space because you can get it in different devices, and time because you can see it at a different time. And broadcasting is now trying to find how to cope up with this challenge. So to start this entire discussion, we would like you, Professor Moona, to give your views, and then we'll go to the panelists. And for the entire session, you will be on the video. Over to you.
Thank you, Ankan, and everybody. Let me first of all apologize for not being there again this time. I really wanted to be, but due to certain commitments, I had to actually call off my visit to Bangalore, and therefore I am physically not there. But as the topic is digital video broadcast, if we are able to meet over Skype, I think this is really a success of digital video broadcast because it is actually going in the right direction. And in fact, this particular time, the Skype conversation that I'm having with you is so alive that actually almost says, except for the size of the screen, it actually looks like that I am in the room. So to that extent, I think even though I could not come, it is better to be through media, be present and be among you. And I thought I will actually share some of my points. I think if we look at the digital video broadcast, it has evolved in certain ways. It has actually had organic growth from analog video to digital video. And first, broadcast was primarily for the reasons of quality, that you really wanted a good quality video, good quality audio. But then eventually the issue kind of translated into how do we provide security and loss of revenue for the content providers by avoiding the stealing, by avoiding the duplicacy, unauthorized duplicacy of channels and these kind of things. So video broadcasts actually organically grow from one-way analog broadcast from stations to subscribers, and now from stations to head-end to subscribers, either through cable or through satellite communication. And the major characteristic of current digital video broadcast, as we see, major deployment scenarios are one-way communication. Parallelly, in other areas, whether it is on mobile phone or otherwise, the IP network has actually taken long strides. It is possible in some sense to see video on demand today, and a right example that we see today is YouTube channels where video is available on demand through IP network. The HTML and the web protocol has become the language of such communication. In the case of digital video broadcast, especially for cable TV and satellite TV, this has not penetrated much, and it is largely on one-way communication. In future, we expect it to be two-way communication. In CDAC, we collaborated with ByDesign. We developed Indian CAS, ICAS, conditional access system. The major reason for ICAS, and in fact this is the first time a proper partnership between CDAC and private was carried out to develop the technology, to ensure that the technology is proliferated and it actually goes into every place. The government supported it, and a very transparent process was used to select the technology service provider. The interesting part in this particular exercise that we learned is that there are a number of aspects that one has to look at. One is of course the technical part, and we collaborated with academia, we collaborated with government, we collaborated with private, and we collaborated with professionals who actually assisted us, and then we defined a solution architecture for ICAS. But then there is a second aspect which also has to be looked at, and that is the business aspect. And often it is said, there have been a lot of such cases where one-way communication is not able to provide adequate security, and the security has been found to be failing in certain cases. Two-way communication will definitely provide a major security channels, major security strength in all the digital video broadcasts. Now, before we actually look at the two-way communication, full-fledged two-way communication coming into our homes for digital video broadcast, I think there are going to be intermediate steps too. And these intermediate steps are necessary because of certain reasons. Like economics is one reason where if somebody has to look at on IP network, the data communication is still very expensive, and on top of it, the content provisioning, the payment for content and all that will increase the cost of digital video broadcast enormously. In the stopgap arrangement, possibly it will be two-way communication for data and one-way communication for video, probably would be the right thing. In fact, DP Singh is already there. Doordarshan is talking about a major technology, and I am sure he is going to talk about some of that, where integration of video broadcast on demand in an absolutely unprecedented manner, and that too in a transparent protocol which can be interoperable. So it can actually provide a level playing field. The second thing is that often it is also said from a content provider's viewpoint that the security of the content is still not foolproof. And end-to-end security is often envisaged, where content can be secured right by the content provider and can be descrambled only by the end user. However, in that process, the entire logistics, accounting and other things can be carried out by other operators. In other words, it would be possible in case there is a pilferage of content to somebody else, it would be possible to account for it, it would be possible to identify the source and take appropriate action. The second technology that I want to actually mention is a very strong technology which is coming in form of mobility. India is already working towards optical fiber network being made available on pan-India basis, right up to the village panchayat level. This is BharatNet, and on that network it is services that will be rolled out both by private and government. I envisage that there are going to be a lot of entertainment services that would be made available on such networks, and therefore content provisioning right up to the village level would be a possibility in the time to come, especially in the digital network domain. And if that is the case, then technologies such as optical fiber network, technologies such as mobile phones, and up to the last mile using the network connectivity will actually come in a way, make it possible that initial handshakes could be done using mobile phones, and once the mobile phone connectivity establishes the keys and such kind of things, confidential data to be exchanged, after that the communication can take place in a much major way. This is exactly what digital video broadcast does, except that the keys are transferred from one way rather than two way, and therefore proprietary protocols come in. I think in the time to come, various other services, value-added services are going to come in. In fact, at CDAC, we experimented with certain kind of protocols by incorporating a secondary reverse channel using low bandwidth such as telephone or wireless communication. And using this, one could do programs such as quizzes. So if you have, let's say, Amitabh Bachchan talking about Kaun Banega Crorepati, and he is taking an opinion poll, the opinion poll can be not just within the audience, but it can be across anywhere, and people could actually give out messages right online. Or the audience can actually take part. So there is a quiz question that is asked, and audience can actually give an answer online, and when they give an answer, the winner of that can be declared right in that program. Involvement of audience, involvement of viewers at all levels would be the greatest achievement that digital video broadcast will bring in. In fact, to the extent that it will change the entire TV technology in a major way. In fact, in the modern TV, the tuners are less important, but then other features are much more important. In time to come, it's my feeling that TVs will become even more simpler and more omnipresent devices, and the mobile will bring in the connectivity in terms of data communication, and therefore you go to a hotel room, connect your mobile to a TV, and using your mobile, using your services, you connect to your service provider, but watch the TV on the hotel room. I mean, that could be a possibility. So with this, I would actually say that the time for digital video broadcast has come to look at various new alternatives which are available in the form of incorporating IP networks, in the form of incorporating mobile networks and such kind of things, and provide much higher value in terms of involvement of online. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Muna. Now, for this panel discussion, I think I'll not have any further comments to add. Just will straight away go to the panelists. We had Mr. Amitabh Kumar in another panel in the morning, in the earlier sessions, just after lunch. We have Ms. Srividya Srinivasan joining us. Ma'am, would you tell us something about your company and your field?
I'm Vidya. I'm from Amagi. I'm a co-founder of Amagi. So Amagi is actually a pioneer in geographical targeted advertising in India. We started geographical targeted advertising in India, wherein at the same time in different locations in the same channel, when you're watching the same channel, you can see different ads. Later we actually introduced cloud managed broadcast solutions, wherein you can originate a channel. Being a broadcaster, you can originate a channel and deliver the channel to a remote location, to some other country directly in a head-end, or you can uplink it to your satellite, or you can directly create an OTT channel. And then we now also work on personalized ad insertion solution for OTT viewers. Let's say that you and I are watching the same basketball match, and at the same time, when two people are watching, depending on the relevance of the ad, you will get a different ad and I can get a different ad. So that's what we work on. So we provide a cloud-managed entire broadcasting platform and advertising solutions to broadcasters and operators.
Thank you, ma'am. Mr. D.P. Singh from Doordarshan has joined us in this panel. Mr. Singh, would you please tell something about yourself and the kind of work that you do, sir?
Good afternoon, sir. I am currently working in Doordarshan Directorate and responsible for the design and implementation of various transmitter projects basically. Right now you might be aware that starting from the analog transmission, now we have come to the next generation DVB-T2 transmitters at 16 places throughout the country, including Bangalore. We have installed those transmitters and they are operating in DVB-T2 mode. And we are going to increase this from this 16 to 63 locations, and that is going to cover around 41% of the population by around 31% of the area, geographical area. So that's the thing we are doing.
Thank you, sir. Now, Mr. Kumar, we had a lot of comments from you about this sector, and in a way you have brought out some challenges that being faced by the industry. Now, looking at the technology side of it, already OTT has been mentioned. How do you see the OTT threat to broadcasting coming on? I mean, where are we in India in this? Because if we read the reports about Western economists, the rate of cannibalization of broadcasting subs is going on in an alarming rate. I mean, it's not only year by year or quarter by quarter now. Now people are counting month by month cable cutting. The cable cutting lexicon has not yet reached that way in Indian broadcasting. But how do you see it? Because you are involved both in satellite and cable space, sir.
Yes, actually, I'll just begin by saying that it has been said that the linear broadcasters, they seem to have a linear thinking. It means that they tend to think in a very straight line, whereas unfortunately the world, the way it is moving, is completely in a disruptive manner. Now, till now we were protected, but now we are exposed to an environment where the technologies are really changing very fast. And of course, OTT is just one example. Maybe it will not be relevant in about 2 years' time. Just to give you an example, about 4 years back, the number of Android phones was almost nil, but the growth month on month was more than 30%, and it came to a stage where the older operating systems, including BlackBerry and Symbian and all that, they ceased to exist. So unfortunately, we are in that situation now, whether we like it or not. And OTT is not the end product which we should be aiming for reaching at any point of time. I think the way the things are moving, the video by itself, is being used for a number of different purposes and applications. So, for example, virtual reality or YouTube 360 and so many other manifestations of video, including the video which you can get on Facebook or a channel on Facebook or via YouTube and so on, are different dimensions which are now impinging upon or impacting the traditional linear broadcasting that we have, and we are making very slow changes in that ecosystem by trying to introduce either a return path or slightly more memory or certain things which will make it hopefully a little more palatable for people to accept. But unfortunately, there was a book where if you wish something, you achieve that. I don't remember the author, it was Ila something. But unfortunately, it doesn't happen like that. Whether we wish it that way or not, things are not going to be that way. We will not be able to protect this linear ecosystem for any reasonable length of time. The time has come where we have to make major changes in the way the broadcasting content is delivered. It can be delivered over high capacity storages. Today you can get 128 GB for maybe 1000 rupees. So you can, which is similar to like 30 movies being provided in that storage, or it can be in many different formats. We are also having the high throughput satellites coming in, where we have very powerful beams in Ka-band or Ku band, where you can receive content. We also, of course, have DVB-T2 coming in, which will have certain requirements on mobile phones to have the tuners or at least some kind of dongles. We also have competing technologies like ATSC 3, which is now rolling out in the US, where there is a completely different kind of environment which is being created for the mobile phones, and it is fully IP integrated. So therefore, we are continuously now moving into some kind of a zone where things will be like in quantum mechanics. You can't predict the state of the matter. Where the Schrodinger's theorem, his biggest problem was whether the cat, he used to see a cat at one point and he was never sure whether the cat is there or not there. Sometimes it was there, sometimes it was not there. So we are moving into that paradigm. We have got some time, we have got 3-4 years of DAS4 when the set-top boxes will be still relevant. After that, they will not be relevant. The main networks will be IP, whether we are going to have HDTV or linear channels, or we will have on demand, or we will have in some other formats, including user provided content and user targeting. So that ecosystem will evolve, and we have to mold ourselves to work according to that, and not really depend on a set of technologies which will take years to develop and many more years to be retained before they can pay for themselves. That was.
Thank you, sir. You really paint a very dismal picture for the linear broadcasting industry. However, they say that India is not one country and India is not one market. So while you are saying that, on the other side, Mr. Singh, I would now ask you about the new technologies that Doordarshan is putting. And here I bring the words of Mr. Peter Siebert by saying, I quote, that broadcasting is a public service And broadcasting is not only about the entertainment, but it's also about information and education. In fact, I quote this because I'm asking representative from the public broadcaster, and on that perspective, could you tell us the technologies that you are now deploying and what are they?
Yeah, I agree to some extent what Mr. Amitabh has said, that we cannot think for indefinite time in a linear fashion. We are adapting to the new challenges, to the new technologies, and we had carried our experimental DDT transmission in 2002 and 2007, and then thereafter we tried DVH also, as it was discussed. Now we are, as I told you, we are already on the DVT2 terrestrial transmission. We are in the process for the formulation of the business model, and with the help of IIM Ahmedabad, and in fact we are asking the support from the various stakeholders, the chip manufacturers, the vendors, for success of this transmission, this technology and transmission with the by providing some solutions. In fact, Professor Mona was in that meeting which we attended there, and we are seeking their help. And we have a lot of encouragement from the industry. And not only this thing linear TV, we are going to offer this thing on mobile platform also. And in fact, you can see here also we have shown to that it is available with the dongles, and this thing chip manufacturers and the mobile handset also, they have shown that inbuilt chip is available, so that can be a very good success because the dongles, that efficiency is less. So if it is an inbuilt chipset, so we can receive the good amount of entertainment channels and other channels, relevant channels throughout the coverage area of the particular transmitter. And we are very hopeful not only to provide the channels as such. We want to do for the education also as a public service broadcaster, and apart from the television channels, we are also right now we are giving 3 channels, radio channels also, DVT2 radio. Also as a test transmission, but once our business model is finalized, business plan is finalized, we will be giving more radio channels apart from the TV channels. So it will be very good bouquet of channels which will be provided to the customers throughout the country.
Thank you, sir. In fact, there was no dark technology trials and proof of concept from Doordarshan, because with the past interaction with various levels of Doordarshan, I had always felt and told that what Doordarshan really needs is the business case finalization, because it's not about technology only, but about how and why the customer will choose the technology. In fact, India being the only country where a public broadcaster has taken DVB-H and proved it, showed that the technical excellence do reside in the Prasar Bharati. But the point is, at that point of time, there was discussions about the business case. Anyway, we can go on talking about it, but that was a missed opportunity. But DVB-T2 embedded that in the mobiles and can work wonders, provided the contents are actually what the consumer is wanting. And you involving Ahmedabad is a very good step. I think we'll all see how it goes. Now, the next question goes to Ms. Srividya. Madam, how do you see, because you are in this space from the other side, now how do you see OTT adoption in India? Because that's the technology we are all talking about. OTT is not one technology, it is over the top, but it means many things. So would you kindly go into slightly deeper into that?
OTT adoption is picking up in India, but it has not gone into mainstream like the developed countries like US, where you are talking about cable cuts. In India, people are watching through major platforms like what the networks provide, like a Hotstar or for example the Z network and so on, which people watch. And many times the live telecast of sports is an important reason why people want to use OTT. And the adoption of smartphones and 4G coming in has significantly improved the adoption of OTT. But it is still very less when compared to developed country. We see that this trend to be going up significantly over the next 3-4 years, as Amitabh ji pointed out, and we believe that it will be a way to go. To just give you an example, there was this final, between Australian final going on between Federer and Nadal, right? And we were just driving in a car, and I just want to see what's happening. I just click, open the link on my mobile, and I could watch the match live from the Sony website. And you all feel good about it. But earlier, all of us used to, run to a cafe coffee day, probably to watch it in a big screen, because that's an easy way to do it. So in that way, it helps you to augment what is being watched as a mainstream TV content. The TV content is extremely important, and therefore it's important to bring it to OTT or to do through cable or to do it through DTH. And the adoption will pick up in the next 3 or 4 years as the 4G penetration increases.
My last question before I open it to the audience is, we have been talking about OTTs as a challenge, but OTT necessarily depends on broadband speed, isn't it? Now, adoption of broadband has been a challenge for quite some time, and we are not really seeing the end of that yet. Isn't it that the adoption of OTT would have a direct connection on the speed availability for mass market in India to have real TV quality material on OTT?
Yeah,
No.
definitely. Adoption of OTT is dependent on the broadband adoption, with the government's own drive on digitization, and with networks like what we mentioned, BharatNet coming in. We really feel that broadband will go big places, not just, as you also explained, this adoption of broadband is not just for entertainment, it is for education, it is for communication, and all of those. So as the adoption increases, the adoption is that good. And the same that goes to 2G and so on. So the adoption of broadband is extremely important for the adoption of OTT, and it's going in the right direction. It has been a challenge, but just like we didn't have proper roads, and at least now cities have the notion of roads, the same way would follow with broadband as well.
Yeah, thank you. Now, the floor is open for questions from the audience. Yeah. Please identify your virtual name and.
I am Anil Kumar, working as DDG in Doordarshan, Bangalore. As we were just discussing that OTT in the present scenario of broadband connectivity in India and the kind of bandwidth we are getting, still it has got a long way to go. But however, the challenge for the linear broadcasting is to integrate on the receive end the best of the IP world and the best of the linear world. So, as a part of the broadcasting fraternity, who are experimented on DVB-T2, so we are all hopeful that, and we are very sure, and we have done quite a good amount of evaluation on that, and our success is quite high in terms of receiving on the move a good quality content within the coverage area, and at the same time having a connectivity, back-end connectivity. So you will be able to get a very good, means the advantages of both the world can be exploited. So now what we are telling that, what I would like to ask the panelists are linear people thinking in their line to converge with the telecom side in the next generation or in the few years, otherwise the linear may not survive. What you have got to say on that?
Oh, to whom this question is?
This is for the whole panel.
Yeah, Mr. Kumar, you might take this.
Yeah, I think it's a very relevant question, and I think we are always grappling with this every day. If you look at the outside world, the outside of India, the only linear channels which are surviving are either news channels, movie channels, or sports channels. There are very few other channels which are really able to generate ratings and be able to survive. Now, so far as OTT is concerned, we don't actually believe that broadband is the only medium to deliver it, or a very high quality broadband is required. Most of the OTT players, as you would have seen, they have permitted downloads, that you can download, let's say, a movie or a show or whatever over a period of time. So if your broadband speed is slightly slower than what is required to linearly broadcast the show, then you can download that and watch it a little later. Similarly, via satellites, we think that the next step is about to be taken, which is the high throughput satellites. And they have a lot of capacity, and that too concentrated in a number of beams. As you know, in the US, the direct TV is being shown over the entire continental US. We market it into a number of sharp beams which are for the specific region or community. So, for example, you can have league matches for Bangalore only in the beam which comes to Bangalore, and you will have a different one which is going to, let's say, Hyderabad. So that kind of customization is already happening in some certain kind of services. So I think it's an open question. For linear services, yes, I think the news, like the Prime Minister speaking or whatever, will remain important. But other than that, the movie houses, the on-demand content, the older content will actually move to completely different media, which will include OTT, but will also include other download methods over a period of time.
Thank you. Any other question? Yeah.
Amit, you spoke about AR, VR. So, what is exactly is happening in that space? Can you give us a little more insight into it? How the technologies of AR, VR is being getting adopted into the new technology areas?
Yeah, VR technologies are very interesting, and
No, that should not be.
I hope you're asking about VR only, no? Virtual reality.
Both AR and VR. I heard you telling AR and augmented reality and virtual reality.
Okay. Yeah, there is a lot of difference in that, so that's why I clarified. Well, actually, augmented reality and virtual reality both are important, and basically, as broadcasters, to make a difference, I guess we will need to move into those areas as well, and be able to ultimately provide the necessary elements, let us say, to be able to recreate the VR and AR elements when the users they watch the shows. So that is important, and I think it is going to go beyond VR and AR. This is only a new direction which has been set, but it is going to go beyond this, and you are going to have much more intensive content where you will have the user or the other actors walking in and out of the scenes and so on, and those kind of things are going to be coming in with a very interesting set of content, including in reality shows and in other content.
Okay, last question, because one of the panelists have to catch a flight, so be very careful about. One has to be careful about the traffic conditions. So, last question.
Hello, Amit. This is regarding.
Go ahead.
This is regarding the satellite eye throughput. Is it a same standard UPS and S2 for the front end, or is it a different technology?
No, there are different standards coming in. In the US, in direct TV, they use DVB-S2X, which is because it's Ka band. So because of the Ka band, you can't have the same kind of error protection as you have the KU band, so you modify that. But I guess it is going to be IP, certain kind of encapsulated IP, which will be used over high throughput satellites, which will ultimately be delivered to the users.
Will it support return channel or it's only one way?
I guess it will be both way, both with return channel and without return channel. It's going to be both ways.
Thank you, sir. I thank the panelists, and I'll now request Mr. Vivek Pawar of ISA to give mementos.
Just one thing I would like to discuss with everybody.
Can you take it offline, please? We'll keep it off.
30 seconds. Everybody can.
30 seconds. Okay. 30 seconds. Yeah.
Hi, Professor. You were talking about the security. Quickly on the security point, we have done HLS encoding on the HLS platform. Okay, the HEVC, and we have done the encryption. We believe this encryption cannot be broke on the mobile phone, on the laptop, or any Android kind of device, which can be connected to television. Definitely, I will touch base with you and would like to show you what is not.
This is not a question. Please take it offline.
Okay.
Please take it offline. Yeah. First, Ms. Sridhar Srinivasan. Please. Yeah. Nice. Mr. D.P. Singh. So I think we will now give these things to Professor Rajat Puna through Ms. Savita Kashyap. Mr. Kashyap, please come in. Please take it on behalf of Professor Muna. Nothing for me. Can I?
Yeah, one to Mr. Antar Vishwas. Please.
I still have something more to do. Thanks to the panelists, especially thank you, Mr. Kumar, because you had taken the double role, and with your experience, I thought it was most enjoying and doing your. Thank you, Professor Muna. Thank you for being able to join despite your busy schedule. Thank you.
Thank you.
This is my.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks. Thank you,
Right
sir.
off of it. Okay, but we are not breaking before I give the vote of thanks. I must thank the government departments, starting from MeitY, Professor Mr. Rajiv Bansal's address, in which he has really marked out the trajectory of this group. We thank Mr. Sunil Gupta for his excellent talk. Professor Muna. We thank Mr. D.P. Singh and D.P. Singh, through Mr. D.P. Singh, Doordarshan, and Basil. So government has been very strong in supporting this. Then we thank the MSOs, the broadcasters, thank Z Group very strongly because of their support. We thank all the other participants, which includes the set-top box manufacturers, including MCBS and Velinkani. and the others who are present. We thank the LCO group, Mr. Arvind Prabhu coming all the way. I mean, you are an example of how you can inspire people to take everything forward. Thank you, sir, for being able to come here. We thank CDAC for their presence. We thank the sock vendors. We thank, we don't see them here still now, but still, we thank the head-end manufacturers. Amit, you have, I mean, nobody can stop you from making your point. We really thank all the other participants whom I have probably forgotten to mention. Yeah, CDOT. We thank the design houses who have been very strong in supporting this cause. This is just the beginning of a journey. This is our first open exposition of our group. I think the support has been overwhelming. We must at last thank ESA for accepting us in this, and their office bearers, including Becky, whom I do not see. And last but not the least, I thank Arvind Pai of Creative Insights for making all background supports for this. Thank you. Thank you very much.
And just for one sec, since I will not be able to interact locally, Amit, who was trying to put a question to me, I mean, you can probably just send it over email so I can respond.
I will take your email ID from Ankan.
Yeah. Don't worry.
Yeah.
You.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.